I got a deal the 49ers should do by lunchtime today. Check out Ike's Catering, by the way, for your office. I'm signing Keenan Allen today if I'm the San Francisco 49ers. Why not? He's still productive. I don't care about his age. It'd be a little bit of a homecoming for a former California Golden Bear. 70 catches, 704 yards, 7 touchdowns. That would have put him right in the middle of production leadership for the 49ers last year. I would sign Keenan Allen today if I'm the San Francisco 49ers, and I would sign him before Amari Cooper. I think Allen's the guy that they should put on their roster by week's end. Why not? It's only money, and it gives you experience at a position where you're looking for some. And God forbid there be an injury to Jennings or Pearsall. You're going to want Keenan Allen, I think, on this team. I would go and do that today.
See, I wouldn't. Here's the thing. I mean, you have 4 young receivers. Who's for sure on the team? Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Demarcus Robinson, right? Those 3 guys for sure. And obviously Ayuk's going to be there, but he's rehabbing. So you got 3 receivers and 4 if you want to count the injured Ayuk. But then you also have Jordan Watkins, 4th-round pick this year, Jacob Cowing, 4th-round pick last year, Junior Bergen, who is your 7th-round pick, but he kind of opened my eyes by the fact that he says he wants to go to the Hall of Fame. I mean, obviously he's got high standards for himself.
Hey,
and then you have Isaiah Nayer, who is, you heard Kittle on Bussin' with the Boys on Barstool talking up Nayer, and Nayer's a freak, and he's young. So I don't know. I like Keenan Allen. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know that they need another slow guy. What I would be interested in is if I could find somebody like Malachi Corley who could do some of the things that Debo did. Then, because I mean, like I think you could, there could be a use for him. And also, I don't know that I want to bring in any receiver that has attitude or expectations. If you bring in an Amari Cooper, if you bring in a Keenan Allen, they're going to demand that you play them all the time, and they're the number one guy, and this and that. And I don't think the Niners ought to do that.
I don't think that Keenan Allen's got that reputation. He produced an awful lot for a influx Bears offense all last year. They're firing offensive coordinators. They're getting rid of their head coach. You got a rookie quarterback who's playing behind a hurried up offensive line, and he still caught 70 balls for 700 yards and 7 touchdowns. Again, that would have put him right in the middle of, at the top of success last year. For the
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But here's the thing: what if you sign him and he comes to camp and he's a step slow, and now you want to cut him? Now you're screwed. So he's to me anybody. I think Amari Cooper's done. And,
what happens when Ricky Pearsall gets hurt? What happens when Juwan Jennings has to miss 2 weeks with a sprained ankle?
It's time. It's time to. I want to see Cowing. I want to see Watkins. Okay. I want to see Demarcus Robinson. I want to see a younger receiver. I don't. It's not that I'm anti Keenan Allen. I don't mind Keenan Allen. I wouldn't hate it. I just I don't think that's what they need. I think they need somebody who can run the gadget routes. I think they need somebody who's a little bit more physical, who can break tackles. Like I'm looking at this team and I'm like,
that to me is Isaac Gerendo. Like Gerendo needs to be that guy now.
But I mean, he's a running back. I mean, I would say you got to have, if you're going to add one more receiver, I'd rather add a younger guy. I'd rather add a younger guy because then I don't need to go to him. If I add Malachi Corley, I can bring him along at whatever speed I want to bring him along. If I add Amari Cooper, if I add Gabe Davis, if I add veterans like that, then I'm going to have to really play them.
Larry, what 49ers story do you think is bubbling beneath the surface right now? What is something that, depending on a slow start, a fast start, you think could come to head either positively or negatively? What do you think is the, no one's talking about it now, but by week 8, this could really be coming into focus?
Well, I just see tremendous momentum for Isaac Gerendo. You mentioned him before. I just think Gerendo is not just another player on the team. He's not just a backup running back. He's got superstar potential. He's much more than several other players. I watch this Niner team and I see Christian McCaffrey, and it's like it's really obvious that he wants to get back to being the Christian of old. But to me, I don't see that happening. I see Gerendo getting more and more and more of the snaps and the attention as this thing goes forward. Gerendo is so big, so fast, so talented as far as his ability as a receiver. He's got great hands. And I just think that I don't think he's going to be denied. I think the only thing that could stop Isaac Gerendo is the Niners. The Niners are the only thing. Opposing defenses will not stop this guy.
Well, and look,
the Niners.
They better figure out a way to use him, because you and I have already talked about any postseason success is going to come with a healthy Christian McCaffrey being right in the middle of this offense. Getting Christian McCaffrey to the postseason healthy is part and parcel of any and all team success. I really believe that. I think you do too. You might be a little bit down on his overall, how much of a pounding can he take? So you don't want to give him much of a pounding during the regular season. Insert Isaac Gerendo. And I really do think this guy could be somewhere third or fourth on this team's roster in receptions, second, third on this roster in overall yards from scrimmage. He has insane talent. So I think him being the gadget guy, the new Debo. Yes, he's a running back. Oh, but there he is in the slot. And there he is in a two-back set.
He's better than Debo. I mean, he's every aspect of whatever Debo did, this guy can do better. This guy's bigger than Debo. This guy's faster than Debo. This guy's a better receiver than Debo. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Malachi Corley, but they may already have their Debo in a guy like Gerendo. But yeah, I just think Gerendo is coming. I'm watching him on the practice field, and I'm like, whoa. Look at this guy. This guy is so much the best athlete on the field. And he's coming. I mean, he is absolutely coming. I would say that's a story that's bubbling beneath the surface. One other story that's bubbling beneath the surface is Nick Martin. And, there are people that are very skeptical about Nick Martin.
You break his thumb or something?
Yeah, he broke his thumb. But that's nothing. I mean, he'll have that thing. He won't miss any time at all. I don't even think by the preseason he'll even play with a bandage or anything. I think that's a preliminary thing. But Nick Martin is just going to be great. I mean, he flies all over the field, and it's like the people that are anti Nick Martin are like, he's going to miss tackles. He's too small. And this, okay, all right. It's like he didn't miss tackles at Oak State.
Do you think
he wasn't too small there? And he's just
going to cut in front of D. Winters in line?
Yeah, I mean, nothing against D. Winters. I like D. Winters, but come on, man. I mean, it's night and day. Nick Martin is. I mean, Trent Williams said it the other day. It's like he's a great player. Trent Williams, came across like Trent would say that about anybody. But, if you know Trent the way we know Trent doesn't say that about anybody. You know what I mean? He's right. He won't volunteer a bunch of praise to somebody who's just okay. You know what I mean?
Well, but we've gone down that road with Spencer Burford. Trent was all on Team Burford there, and
yeah, he still is. I mean, he still loves Burford. Burford trained with him in the offseason in Houston, and he's rooting for Burford. But this is a guy who doesn't play his position. This is just a guy he's just out there watching, who he really doesn't know all that well. He's probably met him, 3 times, and he's just watching him. But he can, Trent also knows what it's supposed to look like. So if you said to me, okay, so, what impacts a football team? Well, I mean, all football teams are made up of players that are getting better and players that are getting worse, right? So, some of your rosters going like this, some of your rosters going like this, some of your rosters going like that. And then you cook it up every year and you kind of figure out what the grand net total is, to me, the one thing, Damon, that kind of alters the whole equation is true greatness. You know what I mean? If Isaac Gerendo is not just a pretty good player, if he's truly a great player, the Niners take a step forward. If Brock Purdy's pretty decent quarterback, but if he's truly a great quarterback, you take a step forward. And I see the Niners taking a step forward with Gerendo on defense and with Nick Martin on offense. And maybe even your guy CJ West. But I think he's going to need a little bit more work before he's really an all-around player. But Nick Martin, I think, might be a plug-and-play, well above average starter. So to me, if you say, give me two reasons for real excitement, Gerendo and Nick Martin.
I think two reasons for real excitement might be just having Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley in the building. Just, let's say you don't have the all the greatness on the field that you want. A great coach matters more in the NFL, and I think this team has added a couple of great defensive coaches. We'll get to them in a second. Let me just tell you the story that's bubbling beneath the surface as far as I'm looking at this. You went pretty player specific. I'm going a little bit more bird's eye view here. If the draft picks across this defensive line means this team's right back in a elite defensive conversation again. And all these young players look really good early and play well often. Man, John Lynch is going to be right in the middle of executive of the year conversations. If Brock Purdy, after the contract situation, has a really good year, they're going to give a little, applause to John Lynch for getting what will quickly be seen as a pretty reasonable contract, especially if the guy really produces. The other side of that coin is John Lynch's dismissal if things don't work out, Larry. I mean, this to me is this is not going to be an 8-9 or 9-8 type of season. I think this thing really sings, or it might fall flat on its face. I don't feel like just average is in the cards for the 49ers this year. There's no real gray area for John Lynch to hide behind. If this is an unproductive draft class, you can basically circle last year's draft class as the one kind of maybe that got you some players draft class, and everything else has been a little bit of a disaster. I think that Jed York is more mentally on team, I got a good head coach, than he is, I have a GM that simply cannot be replaced. I think the bubbling story this year it is a huge year for John Lynch, his roster building capabilities, his reputation. I think John Lynch either is, you're singing his praises by the end of the year, or you're saying maybe it's time to get another new evaluator in here.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be people that would push back on that. There's no question that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are a package deal, right? They're a package deal. So as long as Shanahan's here, I think Lynch is probably here. But as you just pointed out, I think it is a big year, and they do need to make the playoffs. They do need to, show that they hit on some of their picks. They do need another good draft back to back. But if they don't, I don't know that I see Lynch getting the axe, but I do think it's possible that you'll have some form of a masthead reshuffling, and John would be taken from more of a primary evaluator into more of an overseer president type role.
President of football operations.
With a different evaluator with maybe more autonomy